So you might have noticed that, well, naturally, like anything, right? The game updated, and you might be wondering, like, well, what did they do? What did they change? Okay, so like daily deals now is going to have something different depending on the state you're in. You don't know what daily deals is? It's basically when you pop up your, well, like for example, you go over here and you've got your deposits and all your other stuff, but most importantly, right, you got like these little pop-ups that come up from time to time. You might have also noticed if you go over here that you've got daily deals, and this here, right, is varied depending on the state age. Well, obviously they've tweaked this ever so slightly, so I know that was changed. The other thing that I heard that they have actually changed not that long ago is the fact that now state transfers can actually go up to a range of 180 days now rather than 90. So that is to say that somebody can now potentially jump into a state depending on, and there's a lot of factors that go into that, but like they're opening the amount in terms of like how far away you can join a state now, which is going to be kind of interesting. And the only other, like, I would say major thing that people have probably heard, and if you haven't already, it's basically if you go to your special buildings tab, you'll now notice that you have an extra hunting trap now. So you don't just have one hunting trap, you can now have two hunting traps. So that is what they changed in the update, and it's, I think a noticeably good benefit for a lot of players, really, because now you're not strictly having to, you got like 100 freaking people. You're not like, oh, being a little inefficient because you can't get like X number of people over to a certain area. Like now you can actually get maybe two groups of people around it, and you can actually be a little bit more efficient about how you want to do bear trap, which is nice, right? Of course, like all things, there is always lots of things. There is a code. That code there, as you can see, that's a code. So, if you're wondering, that's actually what it means. But anyway, the main thing is, right, is that they've got some gift codes that are running around. I did have somebody that was kind of curious as to like, what should I use for garrisons? Now, I've had this discussion with people before, but I feel like you really can't, how do you say, there's no tried and true, like, I should use this composition in every scenario possible. But what I have come to find is that if you're in defense, all right, you can kind of play this in two ways, but a lot of the time, what I tend to find is if you're defending, what you're actually after isn't so much like a large number of marksmen, so much as you actually want more lancers. But you need infantry too. So for that reason, I kind of like to think that, you could like bring down, say, the amount of infantry and your marksman counts to like something akin to like either a 40-40-20, for example, or you could even, flirt with the idea of like even bringing your marksman down to like 15 and bring your marksman count, down to low enough where, yeah, you're going to have a lot more lancers. But this kind of like muckery of the balance is not exactly a tried and true, like it's going to get you the win every time. You're oftentimes going to be really finding yourself, if anything, you're going to be like, I need really about 35% of this and maybe 25% of that and 40% of that. And that's, I think, kind of more of a, the idea that, oh, if I'm losing a lot of infantry really quickly, right, and I just try to keep it as even as possible, that's also fine. Like, I don't think there's really a wrong answer there. It's more important that you pay attention to what your heroes are, okay? Like, if you're in a defense scenario, okay, the hero with the flag is going to be pretty important because if that hero does not have like any of the defensive bonuses that come along with, all of the other major heroes for that matter, right? Like if you're not paying attention to their exclusive and you're not paying attention to the actual generation of the hero, there's a lot of little itty bitty things, even in the skills tab, that, if you're not paying attention to whether or not you're getting a defender's bonus for that, like that to me is more problematic in what I see a lot of people doing, because you'll have a ton of people that'll join a rally and they don't use Patrick, or they don't have anything that's contributing something that would actually do you any good in a defense. Like, focus on that element more than the actual balance of the army itself, because I would say, an even balance is probably going to be just fine. And if anything, you really don't need to worry about it too much, but you would probably benefit from having more Lancers and infantry than you will marksmen. I mean, the opposite is true when you're attacking it. You need more marksmen and infantry when you're attacking it, and not so much Lancers. But it all depends on what the composition would be in the event that, let's say, it's all infantry, for example, right? Well, then, yeah, sending a bunch of marksmen and infantry is probably going to get you the win. It all assumes that the infantry, or the balance sheet, that is, for however many troops are actually in there, that's going to make the biggest difference. But it's, again, this assumes you're 1-to-1 too, which most people aren't. Like, you have a lot of other things you have to consider, which is, are you using hero gear? Are your charms up to 11? Are you at legendary, fully maxed out? Are you, kicking off every single pet skill? Have you upgraded your pets all the way? And then you've even got, not only are you dealing with that, but then, do you have your actual active growth bonuses active and all of these attack bonuses on? I mean, there are so many intricate little things that you take all of that with a grain of salt, but like, even with all of that in mind, right? Say you've done all of this and you're still struggling. Like, chances are, guys, it's also a team effort. Like, you're going to need people that have the highest quality of troop available, too. Like, the other particular factor that plays into this is, are you furnace level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Are you using tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and, so it's like, you have so many other factors. And then, even when you get to Fire Crystal Age, right? Then you got to consider, are they Fire Crystal 6, 7, 8? Because that also plays into the troops' ability to, actually do damage, and so, and then if you even get into the realm of, like, say you start wanting to go even further than that, right? And you want to start going down the War Academy. And let's say you now have, you've got the T11s. I mean, you get where I'm going with this. Like, it is a collective mismatch, I think, for a lot of people to be like, yes, the balance is what's going to make me win. No. Like, you got a lot to learn if that's what you think is going to get you the win. In any case, guys, that, I think, is really about all you need to know, though, on that front of things. Of course, one of the things that I guess should be worth mentioning is, with all of those changes that they've added to Bear Hunt, you'll notice that you can actually have 2 timers. So now you can have 2 groups of people hitting Bear Trap at different hours of the day, which is kind of cool. So that's a noticeably good update. At least I think it is. But that said, that is what's new. Thank you guys for watching.